Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she's a self-proclaimed space nerd, and she now has a dream job. She's the CEO of Back to Space. Her story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I would submit that not since the 1960s has NASA and space been so cool. Thanks to people like Elon Musk and Richard Branson, space tourism is in the news. We've got a renewed interest in all things space. And to talk about that today, Gabriella Zielke. She is the CEO of Back to Space. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about Back to Space.
Well, so Back to Space is an immersive experience company where we give people the feeling of going to space without actually leaving the ground.
And would you agree with me that space hasn't been this cool in decades?
Space is so much cooler. It's so retro.
Yeah. All right. We're going to pull up a page off of your website because I want people to see what an incredible organization that you're leading these days. It is really all things space. So when people come there, tell us what some of their experiences will be.
So it's based on a storyline that's near future. So we've basically discovered this energy source, and the first experiences are called a research base, but you actually get to experience discovering this energy source. And then the next experiences, they're quite a bit larger. Those are our moonport, because once we've discovered this energy, we're now able to send our ships to the stars.
Okay, when is, I mean, so many people are watching this right now saying, when do I get tickets? How can I? So it's not built yet. It's not built.
Well, it's in the middle of it.
Okay.
It's being built in a top secret location in Texas.
Okay.
And so in December, we'll start selling tickets. So buy those Christmas presents. And it'll open right around the 1st of February.
Wow, and there's a great animation that you guys made about a year or so ago. Let's put that on the screen. And as we put this on the screen, I want you to kind of narrate it for us. In this undisclosed location, how big is the campus? I mean, is that like a football stadium?
So we're actually starting with pop-up experiences. So we have a small containerized research base, and then we have a much larger 10,000 square foot pop-up that will travel the world. And then we're building our intergalactic moonport, and that's going to be a permanent facility. And we're not disclosing the location quite yet, but it's intended to be over acreage. So everything from a space hotel where you're basically staying on the moon to lots of different mixed reality experiences, restaurants, etc.
Yeah, and AI has made so many leaps and bounds here in the last few years. And obviously, you're going to incorporate the latest technology.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we use a mix of set design for the physical reality parts of our experience, but then virtual reality for the missions and for the tours.
And will they at some point get to meet an astronaut maybe?
Well, we do work with a few. So our founder's grandfather is one of the Apollo 14 astronauts. And we've certainly in the past worked with everyone from Buzz Aldrin, and Charlie Duke is still an advisor. He actually really is excited about the experience, so it's fun to work with him. And then a lot of people from the Apollo program, but also some of the newer programs, everything from the shuttles to some of the commercial astronauts.
Wow, there's nothing like this out there right now, is there?
There's nothing like it. So there are some that are virtual reality only, where you get to experience current, what's going on currently. So things like the void or what have you, where you can walk through the space station as it is, but there's nothing that really looks forward to the future with this level, unless you're going to something that's really fantasy driven like a Star Wars or a Star Trek, but we're very near future. Sure. So this is stuff that you might experience in your lifetime for real.
And so let's talk more about the pop-ups. would you be going to communities that wouldn't normally get something like this? I mean, do you see kind of rural Texas, or do you see San Antonio?
So actually, the large pop-ups are meant for the larger cities. So Los Angeles, New York, and London, Dubai, what have you. The research bases, actually, we built specifically for smaller communities and venues. Interestingly, tribal casinos are a fascinating place where you can get into a community and bring something there that they might not otherwise experience.
That is so cool. And you are an author. We're going to pull up your book cover and put it on the screen. I want you to brag about yourself. I mean, one, I wrote a book. It took a long time to write the book. How long did it take you to write this book?
You know, the first draft took 6 months, and it took about 2.5 years to fix it up and get it ready to actually be a real novel, because I was teaching myself how to write.
Okay, so don't give away the ending, but what is the novel about?
Ooh. So originally it was, what if we do live in a simulation that was created by an apprentice? That's a strange question, right? So basically there's a woman who's created an artificial intelligence that was meant to trade currencies. It starts playing music one night. And they realize that when this music plays, that only truth can be spoken. And it turns out that she's tapped into some multi-dimensional knowledge that humans aren't quite ready for, and it threatens the upper dimensions. And so our apprentice is sent back to take care of the problem.
And they can get it on Amazon?
They can get it on Amazon and any other bookseller.
Okay, as we wind down the segment, I want you to tell the Buzz Aldrin story, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so when I first invested in Back to Space a few years ago, we were hosting an event here in Dallas at Old Parkland. And basically, Buzz needed a chauffeur, so I picked him up at the airport, him and his fiance. They're now happily married, and drove him around all day. So I was kind of his handler.
Well, now were you able to ask him questions? And just, I mean, as a space geek, this is your rock star. I mean, this is...
Yeah. Well, you know, I feel like everybody's asked the questions. You know, he's been doing this for a long time, right?
Sure.
So I guess I more gave him space, because I'm sure he gets kind of sick of that.
Yeah.
And so, no, I just had a good time, and we talked more about their life in LA now, and...
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to end with the website, which is backtospace.com. Gabriella, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been an amazing guest.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.